But as a matter of securing for the Negro his rights, do you feel that this aggressiveness, this self-assertiveness will get him more in the long run than going along with contemporary opinion and biding his time, taking step by step as he goes?
All of the gains that have been made, that we have received in the area of civil rights have come about because the Negro stood up courageously for these rights, and he was willing to aggressively press on. So I would think that it would be much better in the long run to stand up and be aggressive with understanding goodwill and with a sense of discipline, yet these things should not be substitutes for pressing on. And with this aggressive attitude, I believe that we will bring the gains or other civil rights into being much sooner than we would just standing idly by, waiting for these things to be given voluntarily.
On April the 25th, year 2008, in Washington, D.C. at Howard University, sponsored by the African Studies Department, with 12 of the top civil rights leaders to talk about civil rights, civil duties, in the pursuit of family, happiness, and peace. This conference began with joy and jubilee from the understanding that we're moving from one era of civil rights to the next generation of civil duties.
We are gathered here today, I believe, for three reasons. First of all, for love. Second of all, for service. And third, it is our time now. This movement will combine, on one hand, the civil rights movement, on the other hand, with civil duties, together for the benefit of all.
Ladies and gentlemen, please, take your time. Let's learn, let's understand, and let's build another movement, a movement of civil duties. You see, civil rights was right because we made the law obey itself. But civil duties is a law of the conscience and heart and soul.
We are all called to give something to the planet, to give back in terms of making this the place that the creator of all beautiful things must have envisioned. We are the ones, you are the ones, we are the ones that we've been waiting for. There is nobody else, it's us. I like love, float on Dr. King's dream, but I want to know, what is your dream? What is your vision? What are you going to do with the life you have been given?
Whatever we did was because God gave us the leading and the power and the vision to try the impossible. And things impossible with men are possible with God. And what makes him unique is he took the modern techniques of Mahatma Gandhi and draped on it his New Testament theology about Jesus. His congenital enemies were racism, poverty, and war.
It has been our earnest desire in recent years, as we go through our own golden years, to identify a generation of African American and African young people and people of goodwill who are both technically competent and spiritually mature enough to do on your watch what we did on ours. We're here today because we believe that we have found that generation right here this morning at Howard University.
When you see a need that is more important than you, right? Then you get involved, and your involvement makes it so that fear is secondary. You've got the greatest opportunity to get involved now, and we can create the new movement right now.
Dr. Dorothy Height, who could not make the conference in person, sent a video to the next generation to let them know how important they really are.
It is always inspiring and invigorating for me to be among people concerned about civil rights and social justice. It's very significant to have this conference pass the torch. It's not just a symbol, but it's a clear indication of what we have to do. The civil rights movement was able to lead the country to eliminate segregation. We got some new laws, but we need enforcement. But the important thing is, we now have a new foundation in law. And unless we have a generation that moves ahead, all of our work shall have been in vain.
The Civil Rights Revolution of the 1950s and 60s was led by young people who had a deep and abiding love for the American dream. The American dream that they ought to be one place on the planet with people of every race, creed, and color. But as we prepare for the first of the Kingmakers Confabs between these elders and a new generation of young people, the elders have a great hope that we have found that generation. The fate of the nation and the world may well rest with young people who on their watch did what tens of thousands of young people did under the inspired leadership of Martin Luther King Jr. They changed America and they changed the world. For that to happen, that generation must be identified, nurtured, and be passed the torch for leadership in the present time and in the future.
The realization of Martin Luther King's dream is in sight. The ribbon of history continues to flow. It is about to be passed into the hands of a new generation.
There are three things in this world that we all control. That's our time, our energy, and our money. And I hope that after today, after seeing these legends, hearing their stories and their sacrifice, that you will redirect one, two, or all three of yours so that you can help our young people move forward.
God has told us how to fix what's wrong with the whole world. And when Martin said we as a people will get to the promised land, he was not just talking about black folks, he was talking about all folks. And if we will make sure that we can heal the crack in the Libertyville, the crack in the streets of America, the chasm that runs down the middle of my soul and your soul, God will use us to do a sure enough new thing.
I have come to share what that I have been able to do and cause young people and others to have the courage and the strength. In the end, I hope, in fact, I'm sure that it's going to come out all right because God is on our side.
God did not create us fully sufficient. We need God and we need the human community for sustainability. We need one another. The process here today is the transference of knowledge. You have the presence of God, the problem that we're going to work on together, and a promise to God that those of us who endure to the end shall prevail.
Passing the torch from civil rights to civil duties is a process that must continue from one generation to the other. Civil rights demand that humankind must not be restricted or defined by race, creed, or color. Civil duties calls us to the ordinance of divine obedience, to walk in His stature through mercy and His grace. Don't sit back and wait for somebody else to do it. God is calling you to do civil duties.
I think this is the kind of education that can help us understand what God did through Dr. King and through this great body of anointed men and women that really changed not only the face of America and continuing to change it, but the whole world changed.
The passing of the torch or light of the civil rights era